Hello, lovelies. No, I'm not sick. Says she having a cough. I'm not sick. I'm not being lazy. But yeah, I am in my bed. I've been out quite a lot this morning. It got really cold and I just thought, I knew I was going to make this video this afternoon. I thought, do you know what? I'm going to hop in bed and get myself warm because I've got both duvet and quilt on. Snug as a bug in a rug. Did I just wobble the tripod? Sorry. Yeah, snug as a bug in a rug. And actually, this is perfect for today's video. Yay! You're going to see this on the 1st of December. I'm filming on the 30th of November. There aren't any police around, are there? Date police, it doesn't matter. Yeah, because we are properly heading into winter now. That's the subject of today's video, but with really lovely, cheerful stuff to come. I'm just going to start by saying just a little chat about winter and what I do now to allay the terrible depressions I've had in previous years. But it's not going to be a depressing video, don't worry. I've said so many times, and you all know this by now, I am 100% a summer girl. I love the summer. In the summer, I just feel free, I feel confident, I feel energized, I'm more productive. I don't exactly bound out of bed. I never bound out of bed because I hate getting up in the morning, but I get up and I can't wait to embrace the day. Yay! And the day is so long and gorgeous, and I love just swishing down the street in a summer frock, smiling at people. Yay! Summer girl. The winter, for me, well, historically, it's been the opposite. It's like I feel closed in, I shrink, I lose my joy, I lose my confidence, etc., etc. And you know, I know that, well, I'm pretty sure that most people have their season, the season that makes them feel good. So I know for some of you, for example, it'll be spring, you know, that gorgeous season of rebirth and new growth. For some of you, that's the season which makes you feel like I feel in the summer, that surge of energy, joy, optimism, confidence, however you want to put it. For others of you, it'll be autumn, that gorgeous sort of crisp mornings, the leaves are changing colour, walks in the park when you're kicking up the leaves. For you, that's your, this is when I feel my best. And for some of you, it'll be winter. Some of you crazy ones. And I suppose for a lot of you, that will be partly wrapped up with, you know, Christmas is just around the corner, and for you, that's a really special time. You love it. You get so excited for it. Whatever it is, the point is, I think we can all identify with the idea of, you know, there's one season of the year which feels really great. Conversely, there's another season in the year which makes us feel rubbish. Kind of like the whole sleep thing as well, isn't it? That some people, you know, getting up at 5 o'clock, they feel fabulous. For others of us, the night owls, staying up until 5 a.m, doing whatever, makes us feel fabulous. And you know what? We shouldn't try to change each other, and nor should we judge each other on that. I don't judge someone in the negative, as it were, because they love winter. I'm chuffed to bits that you have your season that you love and that makes you feel great. Let none of us judge. Anyway, so back on. My mug of tea is too. It's too hot. I've got my little mug of tea ready. It's not a little. It's a half a pint of tea. My tea today. It's all about Hygge today. It's spiced apple by M&S. This was a gift in the post from Sarah back in the summer. It came with, do you remember that book I talked about called Salt on My Skin by Sarah Kennedy Norcoy? I can't believe I've remembered that. The book about the lass in Shetland who sort of nurtured herself by sea bathing. It's in the same parcel. I was just looking at the ingredients the other day on this. So it's spiced apple. The first ingredient is called cassia bark. I don't even know what that is. I should look that up actually. If I'm putting something in my body, I should look it up, shouldn't I? Cassia bark, no idea. Dried apples make up a quarter. White hibiscus, rose hips. The rose hips are often used for colouring. It's gone a bit pink. Ginger root, licorice root. It's actually mild. This isn't the first one I've had of this. It is mild. Hibiscus, apple flavouring, cardamom. I want to know what all the bits are in there. I'll look it up. And it does give a warning about the licorice for anyone with hypertension, high blood pressure. It's contraindicated. So yeah, where was I? Oh yes, so this whole winter ain't my thing. It's 4 years ago. It was the winter of 2019 going into 2020. Oh my goodness, with this winter thing, I've had some bad winters. And like I say, this video is not about being gloomy. This is about being optimistic and what we can do. But to talk about that, I need to talk about what happened. So in 2019, going into 2020, I've never, not for a long time had I had such a bad winter in terms of mood. I was depressed. There's no two ways about it. I was really, really depressed. I managed to keep working. I have to. There's no one else here to sort of back me up if I can't work. So I kept working, kept putting out videos. Looking back at it now, I goodness knows how, but there were days when I just wasn't functioning. It was as much as I could do to get out of bed and get dressed without sobbing. I can laugh about it now, but it was wretched. It was really, really wretched. And I'm quite self-aware. I was aware that, I was sort of saying almost out loud to myself, Vivi, this is really bad. You have got to pick yourself up. You've got to get yourself out of this. You can't be like this. But of course, that went on for weeks and weeks and weeks through winter. And we got into March, and I was, all through that winter, I was still going to the garden to harvest, do bits of work, what have you. And we got into March when work in the garden begins in earnest, and I started to feel a bit better. And we just had COVID arriving on our doorstep at that point. But I remember a day, and I think it must have been around then, around the end of February, beginning of March, and I was starting to feel more like myself again. And I sort of said to myself, Vivi, you cannot ever be this bad again. You can't go through this again. This is ridiculous. You cannot let winter affect you like this and just basically stop you in your tracks. You have to work, you have to function. You can't do this. And I sort of, now I'm not saying winter since then has been a dreamboat. Winter has been like summer. It hasn't. But that moment of, it wasn't that I was telling myself off, but I kind of was in a way. It was in that moment that I decided, right, winter is inevitable. I can't afford, I can't afford to go away for 4 or 5 months of the year to hotter, sunnier climes somewhere. Of course I can't. I have to find some way to, instead of hating winter, to embrace it. I'm never going to love it, but I have to embrace it and find my way through. So the whole thing it's about a mental shift. Now, I know over the years, let's have a slug of this while I'm waiting for my spiced apple tea to cool a bit. Over the years, folk have said to me, you need a sad lamp. a seasonal affective disorder lamp. It replicates daylight. So you sit in front of this lamp for an hour and like, oh, hey presto, I'm fixed. I know they work for some people, I'm not knocking them. I've never bought one because one of the things I think I've identified with this winter depression, for me, a lot of it is to do with not being outside or like for hours. You know, in this summer, I talked about this the other day, about my tablecloth for my new home. If you build it, they will come. It's about that thing of being outside long into the evening, outside the shed with friends, chatting, drinking cold beers, or on occasions, a glass of something fizzy to celebrate. Long into the hours, it's all carefree, and that's possible because it's warm. It's the warmth of those summer evenings which makes sitting out way after the light has gone down such a glorious pleasure. The daytime, just, you know, thinking, oh, I'm going to pop to the bookshop, throw a frock on, throw a pair of sandals on, you're out the door. Easy breezy because it's warm, as opposed to winter, layers. You're so bundled up, you feel like, oh, can hardly move. So I think for me, it wasn't so much about the light as about being outside and the warmth. That's what I crucially miss. Now, I can't do anything about the warmth. You know, I don't live in a cold country, not by any means, but our winter, you know, if it's around freezing point, for me, that's just far too cold. I don't like it. End of. So I think it was quite good that I identified that as, I think, as part of my loathing of winter. And it's like, so I've sort of said to myself, it's like I've given myself permission. You know what, Vivi? If you spend all your days indoors where you're warmer, that's okay. No one's going to judge you. Yeah, you're going to nip out occasionally. You'll nip to the garden to harvest, or you might have some shopping to do. But essentially, if you want to stay indoors for 5 months, November, December, January, February, if you want to stay indoors for 5 months, I'm giving you permission. I'm giving myself permission. People can judge me. I don't care. I know what's right for me. I want to be indoors where I can be warm. I mean, it's not that warm because of the fuel bills, but like now I feel so, I'm so snuggly, it's gorgeous, and it changes my mood instantly. The minute I start to feel warm again, I'm like, oh, happier. So identifying that and giving myself permission to stay at home and to stay warm was just it was like a key that unlocked my navigation of winter. And I put that into practice in the winter of 2020, 2021, and it was much better. But it's not just about the temperature. I suppose it's about this thing called Hygge that the Danish do, Hygge. I'm sure the vast majority of you have heard about Hygge by now. I can't remember what the literal translation of it is, but it's something about, you know, coziness with friends. Kind of, it's, in essence, I think it's about coziness. And I was thinking about all the lovely things about winter, and that's what I focus on now. Instead of focusing on how cold it is, how miserable the weather is, how miserable it is for me to be outside, instead of that, I now focus on the gorgeous things of winter. So, first and foremost, I'm doing it today. The gorgeous things of winter is beautiful, thick duvets, gorgeous quilts. My sofa is always piled up, at this time of year now, it's piled up with blankets, this quilt. If I'm sitting on the sofa during the daytime doing something, this quilt goes to the sofa. At night time, the joy of slipping into my bed. My bed is so comfy. Honestly, I could live it. Do you know what? Maybe I should do all my videos from this bed because I'm so comfy. But the joy of slipping into a snuggly bed at night is, it's bliss. I embrace it. Someone was mentioning hot water bottles the other day. I need to replace mine because, I don't know if you know it, but you know on the little circle at at the bottom of your hot water bottle, there's always a little circle shape. It looks like a flower. And there'll be a number in it. That's the date of manufacture. And apparently we should change our water bottle every 2 years. My date of manufacture is 03. It's 20 years old. But anyway, yeah, someone was mentioning about hot water bottles the other day. Popping one in my bed so I'm less cold. Thing is, I'm never cold in this bed. In fact, overnight I'll quite often stick a limb out. I was talking to Paul about this. He calls it his chimney. He sticks a leg out to let some of the heat go because you get too warm. But I do use a hot water bottle. I'll put it in my lap if I'm sitting at the desk for any length of time. If I'm going to be sitting still for an hour, I mean even half an hour, I'll get the hottie botty, put it in my lap because that's sitting still thing. Anyway, so yeah, embracing those cozy things like bedtime in a really snuggly bed, pile up the blankets everywhere. I made a list of some of my snuggly things. Where are my snuggly things? And I think that's another thing. Oh, of course. Oh, brushed cotton Jimmy Jams. These are my winter Jim Jams. I don't wear them in bed. I get too hot. But you know, if I've had a bath, after my bath, if I'm not going to bed straight away, or if I'm sitting on top of the bed to read for half an hour, whatever, or even sitting up, brushed cotton Jimmy Jams, flannel Jim Jams, they're just Hygge. It's all about the Hygge. What are the Hygge things of winter? And then I've got some things to show you. What are the Hygge things of winter? Because it's dark so early, what better in the evening for a long, chatty, gossipy catch-up on the phone with a friend? I love those long phone calls. I love long chats with my friends, full stop. I was talking about this with a friend the other day. We were video calling. So for her, she's in Washington, so it was 10 o'clock in the morning for her, 6 o'clock in the evening for me. What a lovely thing to do, and it's gone dark. I'm not going to be gardening, probably not going to be sewing at that time of day. Just sit and chat with a good friend. Long, chatty, gossipy catch-ups. Brilliant. Hot chocolate. Oh, what could be more Hygge than hot chocolate? I don't have hot chocolate today, but I've got my spiced apple tea. I've left the tea bag in. It's not an overly strong taste, but it's a nice kind of winter change from my regular peppermint or chamomile. Hot choggy would be even better though, but a bit calorific. Soup and crusty bread. I mean, it is soup season, isn't it? You know, that's why recently we've had 2 soup videos. It is the season for soup. It's quick, it's easy. It's nourishing us inside, but there's a psychology to it, isn't it? Again, it's the warmth, putting our hands around a warm bowl of soup. The sound of tearing off crunchy bread and slathering it with butter. Who cares? It's winter. This is the time when we want maybe a little bit of extra fat. I don't mean unhealthily, but you know, we want a bit of insulation. The quilt, candlelight. And I've got a gift. Candlelight at this time of year, and I think, you know, again, for those folk who really love winter, and part of it is Christmas, and that's what I'm trying to embrace. Not necessarily Christmas, but you think of all those things that make Christmas feel special because it's different to what we do the rest of the year. And I'm sure for many of you, part of that will be having candles on the go. And that beautiful, warm, gentle glow. Immediately, despite whatever temperature it is in the room, a lit candle, somehow it makes the room feel more cosy, doesn't it? And I had this, it's beeswax. I want to eat it, it smells so good. My lovely friend Joanne sent this. I love it. As a heart. So it's even more perfect because it's a heart. Oh. Beeswax. Oh, I can't. I really do want to eat it. But yeah, a candle. Now, obviously, this is probably quite expensive. It's lovely. It's a gift. It's formed into a nice shape. It's made from beeswax. A candle doesn't need to be too expensive, but simply lighting a candle. Get yourself under your quilts, your duvets, blankets, whatever it is. Get yourself warm. Light a candle. Have a mug of something hot to drink or a bowl of soup, and suddenly, gosh, the day feels so much better, doesn't it? Cheers to that. And with the whole Christmas thing as well, the way we decorate our homes. So I don't do seasonal decor changes in the flat. I can't afford different sets of cushions, curtains, whatever. But I do have a few Christmas decorations, which they're not going out quite yet, but 2 of them are, because again, it's that thing of, it's a visual clue or cue to me to embrace it rather than to hate it the time of year. And they are, of course, my gorgeous knitted, I mean, they're just gorgeous, aren't they? These are my knitted baubles from Jim. He used the Arnos and Carl patterns. Look, earrings. It is beginning to look a lot like you know what. So I've still got the gift tags on them, because the gift tags are so cute too. They're kind of vintagey inspired. So I'm going to pop these out next to something else I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm going to pop these out. Maybe light the candle, maybe not, but just having these out, again, it's another little reminder for me to not get maudlin because it's cold, to remember, keep embracing it. Honestly, look, it's mind over matter for me. It really is mind over matter. Now, I haven't cheated. It's my calendar from my sister. I know we're one day early because I'm filming on the 31st. I have to film a day early because if I left it to the day of, I don't trust the internet, I don't trust my computer. Oh, this is perfect. Yeah, things can run so slowly that we wouldn't see it on the 1st. And I want this to be the 1st of December video. So my sister's calendar, it's one of hers. This is one of her tree decorations. Isn't that gorgeous? It's felt. Did she make that? She may have made it. But yeah, lovely little felt embroidered star. So, yes. I'm gonna pop my baubles next to it. Lovely. Yeah, it's mind over matter. And I can never decide whether I'm strong-willed, strong-minded, stubborn, quite what, but I do find that most of the time I'm able, with the power of this, to get through difficult stuff. Now, never mind difficult stuff. I've had some lovely post. Oh, gosh, there's some foodie bits I want to talk about. I've had some really lovely post, one of which is way coincidental. I've had a book, Death on the Riviera. It's another one of these British Library classics. These, it says at the bottom as well, British Library Crime Classics. It is a mouthful. This is from, well, the note says C. Just says C, so I don't know who C is, but thank you, C. But what's really mad, completely mad, is, do you remember, I read one of these last Christmas, the crime classics. I read another one, well, I took it to Swanage with me, but then read it when I got back to London. It was one I bought for my sister. Obviously, she didn't get it. I read it. And I bought one for my mum last Christmas, and she really liked it. So I sent her the Swanage one. It's not set in Swanage. She enjoyed that, and she said, if you see any more, I'd love them. So I wanted to find one to send to her for Christmas, and this is the one I found. It's the exact same one. So this, literally about 3 days ago, I was in a queue in the post office with a big parcel of all my mum's goodies for Christmas, including this. So that's a bit like, I opened the packet and I thought, oh, it's been returned. And then I thought, hang on, no, because I've spoken to my mum on the phone already to make sure she's had the parcel. Obviously, she's not opened it yet. And then I saw the little note inside. So thank you, C. It'll be weird reading a book about the hot Riviera in the middle of winter, but maybe that's nice too, looking at photographs and having memories of hot places. So thank you very much for that. But there was something else that came in the post. Oh my goodness. From the gorgeous Naughty Lee. Well, I want to put that there. The fabulous Naughty Lee. Lee, who recommended the Poulty Iron to me. It's an advent calendar. But isn't that beautiful design? I'm going to get it out and open it and show you properly in a second. Beautiful design. And what I love is this company, Zotter, who I'd never heard of. They're in Austria. And they are organic. They are fair trade. There's not an ounce of plastic in here. They are a bean to bar company. In other words, they deal directly with the bean farmers in whatever part of the world it is. They bring those beans back to Austria and they process everything from that stage right up to the chocolate bar. Not many companies do that. There was one I had a gift in the summer of some, and it was a company down in, was it Devon or Cornwall? I've forgotten now. Anyway, yeah, so it ticks all my boxes. Fairly traded directly with the farmers who are growing the beans in wherever. Organic, and Lee mentioned there's some videos about the company, so I went online to have a look. The guy who runs the company, he's like a mad professor of chocolate, and the factory is in a beautiful setting in farmland, countryside in Austria, and I think they generate something like 60% of their own power through solar power for the factory. Yeah, it's gorgeous, and they have farmland around, so everything in their cafe they grow and rear. Even so, I mean, obviously I wouldn't partake, but any of the meat on the menu is from the animals that are right outside the factory. Saying factory, it sounds horrible. It's in rolling countryside. It's beautiful. So everything about it ticks my boxes, sort of ethically, but never mind that. I love the illustration. This little sort of angel, she's got little wings, or fairy girl on a hind in this kind of, ooh, is it a slightly spooky enchanted forest? And then I love the little fox. I love the foxes, but wait till you see. Okay, so I've cheated. I've had December the 1st already. Opens up. Isn't that gorgeous in the woodland? Oh, I need to cough, hang on. Excuse me. So again, these gorgeous, elegant, I don't know whether they're fairies or angels. There's a little mouse fairy angel down here. Owls in the trees. Where's the fox? Oh yeah, there's the fox. I was just slightly hiding. And then even the bars of chocolate, I put that one back so you can see. Little illustrations. I mean, it's just gorgeous. What an absolute treat to have every day. Do you know what I'll do? I'm going to put this on my bureau, and then I think I shall have my little winter baubles sitting with it. But, I mean, how can you hate winter when you've got something like this in your life? It's impossible. Oh my goodness, Lee, thank you so much, lovely. I was looking on the back where all the different cocoa bean farmers are. Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Tanzania, Bolivia, Nicaragua, Belize, Togo, Peru, Panama, India. I didn't know cocoa grew in India. Brazil, Madagascar, Dominican Republic again, I think, have I said? Guatemala. Where else? Uganda? I had no idea. I think of Uganda and I think of, well, one thinks of two things. One thinks of conflict, unfortunately, but I think of the mountain gorillas. Do mountain gorillas eat cocoa beans? Where else? Panama again. Yeah, I mean, it's how wonderful to to have a gorgeous, gorgeous treat that is supporting through fair trade these farmers. And yeah, it's just, it tickled me pink. I love this kind of design, this sort of fairy tale, very sort of graphic. I love it. Brilliant. So yeah, it's stretch my legs. I'm sitting cross-legged. I know people get confused when I sit cross-legged and they think, how can you sit cross-legged with your knees? But it's actually okay. Oh my goodness, let's have another sip. I'm going to round up in a second. But first of all, I'm obsessing about some different foods because of you naughty people. So the other day when I was talking about crumpets, someone mentioned slathering with Lurpak, which is a brand of butter, and it's like, oh yeah, Lurpak's dead expensive though, isn't it? But maybe it can be a Christmas treat. Someone mentioned, and I would never have thought of it, actually a couple of people mentioned golden syrup. Lyle's golden syrup. Do you remember the tin? Green tin, it's sort of goldish colour. And there was, I never understood the reason for it, but there's a lion on the picture on the tin. It's a lion, recumbent. Has it got flies buzzing around it? I never understood that. Has the lion been slurping away at, has the lion stolen some honey and that's bees, but it's a syrup jar. Anyway, golden syrup and memories when I was a kid on Sundays. We didn't have pudding during the week, you know, kind of frugal upbringing, but Sunday was always the same. Sunday lunch was a slightly more expensive piece of meat. This when I was a kid, so it might be a roast chicken, but it was a Sunday roast, full Sunday roast, and pudding. And pudding is the best bit of Sunday, isn't it? And it was usually some kind of baked pudding, because obviously if the oven is on to roast the bird, maybe the spuds as well, it's the perfect time to bake a couple of cakes for during the week, but also pudding. And my favourite was always syrup sponge pudding. Really simply, it's like, I remember the Pyrex bowl, I can still see it. The Pyrex bowl with a bit of syrup in the bottom, a couple of tablespoons of syrup, and then the sponge mixture on the top, goes in the oven, and then when it comes time to serve, a plate on top, tip it upside down, take the Pyrex off, and it's sponged with the golden syrup. Oh, and if we'd been really good, we were allowed an extra teaspoon of syrup to then put on the pudding. And custard, of course, has to be custard. There were other puddings, you know, spotted dick, all those usuals. But I just did a big salivate. But syrup, sponge, pudding and custard, it's joy. You know what, maybe I have to see how, we'll see, I'm going to do a continual to see how these fuel bills go. But if I decide at some point, yeah, I'm going to put the oven on, maybe I should make myself a syrup sponge pudding. I mean, it would be ridiculous because I'd have to buy a tin of syrup, a bag of flour, a bag of sugar, eggs. I don't have any. Anyway, maybe if I have friends over, that's something I could do as a treat. But yeah, that comment about golden syrup, I can't imagine it on crumpets, but it got me thinking about those puddings. And the other thing, sorry, that was mentioned was, I need another slurp. Scratchy throat. Yum, 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 yum. Yeah, the other thing that was mentioned was black cherry jam. I don't tend to have jam very much. It's not something I would buy very often at all. Occasionally I get given a jar of jam. Occasionally I do fancy jam, so I get some, and generally, my shops around here are quite small, so the range, the choice is quite narrow, and usually there's always strawberry jam. I think strawberry jam is overrated. I'm not that fussed about it. I love raspberry jam or blackcurrant jam. I like jams with that little bit of tartness to them still. I can't remember the last time I saw black cherry jam, and I love black cherry jam. So again, maybe as part of Christmas treats, I might go on the hunt and see if I can find some black cherry jam, because honestly, since it was mentioned on the crumpet video, I can't get it out of my blimmin' head. I'm obsessing now. Yeah. I think, yeah, if I can find some, that would be a really, really lovely treat. And again, it's one of those winter things, isn't it? I certainly wouldn't eat jam every day. I certainly wouldn't eat it every week. It's, you know, it's massively high in sugar. But throughout the winter, as a treat, maybe a little Sunday morning breakfast in bed treat. Quickly get out of bed to make it, but come back to bed all cosy and lovely, maybe with a book and a couple of slices of toast that have been slathered with Lurpak and black cherry jam. Oh my giddy goodness. Wouldn't that be a kind thing to do for myself to start my Sunday? I think so. I think sometimes we forget to be kind to ourselves, don't we? I know I'm always rushing about hither, thither. What's the next thing? Must do this, must do that. Get on. But yeah, a breakfast in bed once a week doesn't have to last long. Maybe just half an hour. Anyway, so there we go. That's kind of my coping with winter. I was going to say in a nutshell. Oh, I looked at the clock. I've been going on one, but yeah, it's about. For me, it was all about that mind shift, that mind change in the spring of 2020 after a hideous winter of saying, you have to deal with this differently, Vivi. You have to find a way through this because you can't keep having these horrible winters. How can I embrace this time of year rather than hate it? And very simply, the first thing is allow myself to be indoors and not feel bad about it. Allow myself to pile up blankets and be warm. Keep myself warm, and warmth generates that bit of happiness. But embrace all those other lovely parts of winter. The lovely foods, the lovely drinks, the lovely light, candles, whatever it is, the treats around Christmas, the decor around Christmas, and not necessarily just Christmas. I mean, these don't have to be, but things like, you know, even simple things like having all those blankets on the sofa. So the sofa is a pale cream colour, but then when I'm piling it up with blankets that are, you know, a deep burgundy or deep purple, there's a richness to it which feels warmer. It's all tricking the brain, isn't it? So yeah, tricking myself, that's what it is. It's all about tricking myself. And of course, the other big, massive joy of winter, and it's one thing I can really hold in my mind as a way of saying, you know what, you can get through winter, no problem, because of these gorgeous things, books. Because of course, this is the time of year when I read. So next summer, and I did it this summer, so this summer and the previous couple of summers, instead of getting towards the end of summer, you know, it's the end of September and it's just starting to get a bit darker, a bit chillier, instead, as I've done in previous years, think, oh no, winter's coming, I hate winter, I dread winter. Instead of doing that mindset, I've been saying to myself, yay, winter's coming, that means it's reading time, woohoo, and soup and all the other lovely stuff. So yeah, I'm just mentioning this for anyone else who struggles with any season in particular. Some of you might struggle with summer because you hate the heat. So maybe try and think about the things that you can embrace in the summer to take it from being a miserable time to a time of, actually, you know what, this is all right. And today, in my snuggly bed, in my snuggly PJs with the last slurp of my snuggly seasonal drink, I am more than okay. I'm proper jolly. Right, all right, lovelies, that's it. I need to get up and get on with things. I might keep the pyjamas on though, just keep this mood going. I will see you all again really soon. I'm not sure. Oh, I do know what's coming up next because I videoed it a couple of days ago. In the next video, I'm not going to give anything away, but you will see me, attempting a bit of TIY. Try it yourself. It's like DIY, but it's TIY. In case you can't do it, you can at least try it. Yeah, there's some TIY coming up. So until that one, look after yourselves, stay cozy, channel your Hygge. See you soon. Cheerio.